Hello there everyone, welcome back to the Championship predictions. It is round 19. I'm pretty sure I'm losing count. But yeah, we're a pretty decent chunk of the season and we're closing in on the halfway club. We're closing in on Christmas, and this is the part of the season, and I've mentioned it many times on my previous Championship predictions, where it's sort of make or break for all Championship teams. It is the part of the season where it's the most dense, incredible density of fixtures, and you've got an incredible opportunity to amass points. So this is the chance, and we're well into it now. Midweek round this time round, and I think it's round 19. So we'll have a look at my round 18 predictions or whatever it was previous round, and then we'll be looking ahead to the next round. So the previous round, absolutely terrible, terrible. No correct predictions, bob-ons. Two matches were called off for different reasons, but still, the fact that out of 10 fixtures I've got none of them right is appalling, and is yeah, it's appalling. I had two outcomes correct, which again is also pretty terrible. Southampton 2, Birmingham 1 is what I predicted. That was 3-1. I predicted Sheffield United to beat Stoke by a goal to nil. That was 4-0. So pretty terrible. Let's move on. Let's put that one on the carpet and move on pretty quickly. We'll start with Tuesday and Wednesday night, obviously. We'll start with Tuesday night fixtures, and it is Blackburn versus Oxford, where we'll start. Obviously, Blackburn were part of one of the two fixtures that weren't completed in full. Another fixture at Blackburn, where the game has been called off for a waterlogged pitch. Obviously, I'm no expert on pitches and stuff, but it's clearly a problem there. And how will it affect the Blackburn players? Well, they've not had to travel. They're not going to Oxford. They're back at Ewood. So no travel for them, but presumably it would have affected them in some way that they've gone through that process again. Oxford, they've had a lot of travel. Obviously, differently from Blackburn. They've gone away to Swansea. They lost 2-0. Now they're going up to Blackburn. I'm not particularly convinced by Oxford, if I'm being brutally honest. At this moment in time, I'd say they're definitely in that sort of relegation conversation. They're just not, I don't think, showing enough on a consistent basis. For that reason, I think Blackburn are a better team than them. I'm going to go for the home side. I'm going to go Blackburn 1, Oxford 0. And for Rovers fans, hopefully, they'll see a full game being played at Ewood. Watford against Sheffield Wednesday up next. Wednesday were the other team in that Blackburn fixture that the game was called off in. Watford won 3-2 against Norwich, and the general consensus I'm hearing from Watford fans is it wasn't particularly convincing. They were quite open defensively, could have conceded more than the two they did. Norwich, but going forward they look pretty good, and we know they can be pretty devastating going forward. They've got some really good attacking players, and they've brought in a couple of players in the summer who've really made an impact going forward. So Watford are going to be good offensively. If they can tighten up a little bit, maybe start with a clean sheet against bottom side Sheffield Wednesday, who are clearly the worst side in the division. That doesn't, bring me any joy in saying that, but it's quite obvious. I will go for the home side. I think there'll be might be an emphasis on trying to keep a clean sheet and trying to improve defensively from a Watford perspective. So I'll go for that as well, and I'll go for a clean sheet for the Hornets. I'll go Watford 2, Wednesday 0. That attacking quality for Watford just to be too much for Sheffield Wednesday. I could see potentially Wednesday grabbing a goal. They have got some names up front: Ugbo, Jamal Lowe, Cadamatri, Charlie McNeil. Scored twice against Preston, didn't he? It's just not sort of moulding together for Wednesday. But I guess whatever. Swansea versus Pompey up next. Pompey were another team who had a fixture called off. They obviously went to the Valley to play Charlton, and that was obviously incredibly devastating. The reasons to why that game was called off, and obviously my condolences go out to the fan that sadly passed away at the Valley. Very popular within the Charlton fan base. So my condolences to him, his family, loved ones. So yeah. From a football perspective, Pompey obviously had to travel again. They went to the capital. Now they've got to go to South Wales. This is not easy. And Pompey Pompey haven't been good recently. Full stop at Front Park, away from home, just haven't been performing. And Swansea away, off the back of Swansea winning against Oxford, it's going to be a bit of a lift from the Swans. And how are Pompey going to deal with that? Oxford could have scored in that fixture, and with the quality that Pompey have, particularly Josh Murphy, I could see them scoring. So I will give them a goal, but I think Swansea will come out on top, and Vitor Matos will get back-to-back wins. And if you remember, they went 2-0 up pretty quickly against West Brom previously as well. So there is a little bit of vulnerability with Swansea, but generally, I think they should be targeting this game as an opportunity for 3 points. So, especially, well, it's a massive game down there at the bottom as well, isn't it? So, I'll go for the home win. I'll go Swansea 2, Pompey 1. I will give Pompey a goal at the Swansea.com stadium. Saints versus West Brom. Free-flowing Saints who are scoring goals all of a sudden, almost as if all of the stats under Will Still pointed towards Swansea. Southampton should be scoring a ton more goals, a lot more goals than they were under Will Still. West Brom, they lost away at QPR, and I kind of couldn't really make my mind up about that game prior to the game, and they lost 3-1. Hegbo, though, has got 6 goals in 5 games. He's really showing up, and maybe the questions have been answered over him or Madja or both, and it looks like it's going to be Hegbo for the foreseeable. Southampton, they're really free-flowing. Obviously, they won't score as many goals as they have been doing in every single game. This could be a game where they sort of grind out 1-0 win or something like that, low scoring. But we'll go for the free-flowing goals as well in this one. And now they've got Finn Azaz fully fit and firing. Got Adam Armstrong firing. Got Leo Cienza firing. Southampton are going to be really deadly. So I'm going to go for the Saints win at St Mary's. I'm going to go Southampton 3, West Brom 1. More goals for the Saints. Off to the Valley, where it is Charlton versus Middlesbrough. Charlton, obviously the other team in the clash versus Pompey. The game was called off, and already talked about the circumstances in that game, how it affects Charlton. Well, psychologically, it could do many things, but could motivate them to get a result in front of their home crowd where they're back this midweek. It could sort of really affect them mentally, and that could happen. Suspecting Nathan Jones is their manager, they'll probably use it as a bit of a get behind the boys sort of attitude, and especially considering how bad Charlton's form has been in recent times. I think it's 3 defeats in spin. They've conceded a lot more goals recently. The Addicts 4 defeats on a spin, I think. So they need to fix that quite drastically against the Middlesbrough side, who are flying at the moment. They're second, and they're definitely well in that conversation for one of the automatic places, probably second. But they were fantastic against Haaland. I've been really impressed by Kim Hellberg. Opening 2 games, he makes a couple of really bold decisions, brings in Alex Bangura against Derby. They win that game. He'd had a very decent performance, and Alex Gilbert, he throws in from the off against Hull, gets a goal. Pretty sure he gets an assist as well. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, especially at the Valley and the circumstances surrounding last weekend's postponement. So I'll go for a draw in this one. I think Charlton are going to be pretty good at home. I'll go for Charlton 1, Middlesbrough 1. Preston versus Coventry. Coventry never win at Preston, is what I'm hearing from Cov fans. So probably shouldn't be winning this one either. But Coventry, they're unbelievably good at the minute. They lost. It was only the second time this season. 3-0 at Ipswich. A game where the moments went for Ipswich is probably the best way I could describe that one. Hit the post, a 0-0 Coventry, and if just certain things go for them, they might be walking out that game at Portman Road with something at the very least. Preston, pretty good performance against Wrexham, denied multiple times by Arthur Okonkwo in the Wrexham goal. Probably should have won that game. Got a late equaliser. They're very hard to beat at Deepdale, and this is not going to be an easy game for Coventry. The last time they lost, they reacted by winning 5 games in a row. Will they do similar? Don't think they're going to be winning. I don't think they'll win here, to be honest. I'll go Preston 1, Coventry 1. However, Coventry have gone to difficult away games this season, Ipswich aside, and got some incredibly important wins. Stoke, Middlesbrough, talked about those games at length. So they haven't got it in them, definitely. They've shown it multiple times this season, but maybe that defeat will just linger them a little bit. Sheffield United versus Norwich. Sheffield United are rejuvenated. They are scoring goals for fun and look so much better under Chris Wilder. And the sort of climb we expected from them when Wilder came in is now happening. And it's happening at a very, very fast rate. They've scored 3, 3, 3, and 4 goals in consecutive games. And they're performing fantastically well. Norwich improved against Watford. Defensive frailties are still there with the Canaries, but they're getting better. And Josh Sargent obviously ended his goal drought as well, which is important. I think Norwich will keep it tight. Not tight, but the margin of victory will be smaller for Sheffield United. I do think United will win. I thought Stoke could do the same. They conceded 4 goals. I wouldn't be surprised if this is another bit of a goal fest from a United perspective, but I will go for United win. Narrow one at that. I'll go Sheffield United 2, Norwich 1. QPR versus Birmingham is up next. Two teams, particularly QPR, who I just can't make my mind up about. I think they're a good side on their day, a very good side on their day, but how often does that day come round? They're so streaky, they're very inconsistent. They have now won three games in 4. They beat West Brom 3-1 at home, they're back home. Birmingham, very bad away from home, very good at St Andrews. Maybe Chris Davies has to tweak things slightly away from home. Don't think that's going to happen. They're beaten by a better side in Southampton on the weekend. Maybe they get something here. I'll go for goals. I think there will be goals. Burrell scoring loads. Birmingham, pretty decent value for goals. So I'll go QPR 2, Birmingham 2. Desmond in West London. Derby versus Millwall is up next. This does not scream goals. And two managers who I'm sure will not want to concede loads of chances, especially after Eustace conceded 3 goals inside about half an hour against Leicester. They got dismantled early on, done the counter-attack, can see from a set piece, and it might have been from another set piece. 3 pretty terrible goals from a Derby perspective, and that ultimately kills the game for them. Millwall, very, very good away win at Bristol City. So I'll go for similar. I'll go for the exact same, actually. I'll go Derby 0, Millwall 1. I think Derby will try to make it more compact, be more defensively organised. That might affect them in the final third. So I'll go Derby 0, Millwall 1. Ipswich versus Stoke. What a win for Ipswich. But I mentioned when I saw my commentary where the sort of big moments in the game went for Ipswich. Will that happen every game? No. Will every team that comes to Portman Road this season be as open as Coventry were? Absolutely not. And in fact, we've seen the opposite so far this season. I think it's going to be difficult, more difficult, funnily enough, for Ipswich just to break and counter and score loads of goals against Stoke than it was against Coventry, because Stoke are not going to be as open. But I will still go for the Ipswich win. And I think they might do it relatively comfortably. I'll go Ipswich 3, Stoke 1, another 3 for Ipswich. Bristol City versus Leicester. This is confusing me a little bit, this one. And Leicester scare me after what they did to Derby on the weekend. They have got the quality. They have got Bobby Reid to just turn it around and just score goals at this level. For fun, I think it's going to be difficult for Bristol City, especially considering what happened on the weekend. We are inconsistent. We are win-lose, sort of patchy. I think it's going to be really difficult, actually, for Bristol City. But I will back us for a point. I think it might be a bit stodgy. I think it might be a bit cagey. And I think both teams might just take the point and move on. I'll go Bristol City 1, Leicester 1, which might be slightly optimistic. Finally, it is Hull versus Wrexham. Hull, the great entertainers in this division. There was number 5 goals in their game on the weekend. Wrexham, I'm not saying they're not entertaining. I'm sure they'll like to keep things very nice and tight defensively and be very compact and solid and organised. It's going to be difficult against the Hull side, who are scoring goals. Their form has dropped off quite starkly in recent weeks. They did win at Stoke in the middle of all of that, but general long-term form, the big picture, is a downwards trend for Hull. So I'll back Wrexham to get something. I'll go Hull 1, Wrexham 1. I think Wrexham might take the lead. Hull might come back into it. Something like that will happen. And I think Hull will struggle score goals, score as many goals as they have been doing. Against the Wrexham side, are going to be pretty well organised defensively, and I've got some very good players. Good players in the final third as well, haven't they, Wrexham? So yeah, those are my predictions for Championship round 19. I think I can't remember. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Comment in the comment section down below. Funny that. Your 12 championship predictions for this midweek round. It's the only way to get discussion going. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.